Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's session. This is your 30-day Making Tax Digital Action Plan. Get ready before the new tax year. I'm Rob Campbell, Sales Director here at Nomi, and today in this session, we're going to focus on how Making Tax Digital is going to reshape workflows, reporting, what genuinely needs to be done and in place before April 2026. Now, just a quick note for GDPR purposes, when we move to the Q&A session, please avoid sharing any specific information or names. Keep everything very general. Just as we're all joining now as well, you should be able to see that there's a poll question for you that pops up. It'd be great if everybody could just take a minute and fill that out. You'll see the question is, what best describes you? Are you an accountant, a bookkeeper, a landlord, or a business owner? If everybody could just take 2 seconds to do that, that would be very helpful. Great, I can see many people have done that now. And it looks like the vast majority of people we have with us today are accountants. We've got some bookkeepers, some landlords and business owners, so it's great. And I think that just shows how much MTD is affecting and how many different people from different industries are going to be affected by it. Now, let me also introduce our guest speaker for today. We're really happy to have us with us and give us some real world experience. I'm pleased to welcome Avi to the session. Avi is the director of Jara Finance. If you don't know them, they're an ACCA qualified chartered accountant, extensive knowledge and experience. They deal with audit, financial control, and advisory. And Avi brings some real practical, real world insight from working directly with businesses on financial reporting, compliance, and also, and what's key, is operational readiness. And just before I hand over to you, Avi, let me give a quick overview about what your presentation is going to summarize. So you'll give us a focused recap on Making Tax Digital for income tax, who's affected, what the key dates will be, and what actually matters. Avi's also going to explore real challenges, and it's not just about quarterly filing, but it's also about systems, discipline, and habits behind it. What's going to be in place for April 26 and the cost of waiting versus the benefit of doing the prep early. So, Avi, if I can hand over to you and you can share with us your presentation.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you to everyone joining us today. Whether you're a firm owner or you're preparing your clients or business owner, I'll just share my slide and get started. I think that should be coming out good now. Yes.
Great.
Can you see that clearly? Can you see that clearly?
Yeah, I can see it clearly now. Thank you.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, good. So yeah, thank you to everyone joining us today, whether you're a firm preparing your clients or you're a business owner, just trying to figure out what MTD actually means for your day-to-day. So I want to start by saying something that I think gets lost in a lot of MTD conversations, which is the fact that MTD is not just a compliance exercise, it's actually a fundamental shift in the entire reporting system. So let's look at what making tax digital for income taxes. So move on to the next slide. So basically, it is a structural reform, like I like to call it, because HMRC is moving from an annual summary of your income to a system where income and expenses are captured digitally, reviewed regularly, and then submitted quarterly. So that means 3 things need to happen consistently, and this is what HMRC requires. HMRC requires your income and your expenses to be maintained digitally. So not in a spreadsheet that would maybe get tidied up at year end, but captured as they happen. And that is captured using a HMRC compatible software such as Nomi for all your submissions. Now, this data needs to be reviewed and reconciled on an ongoing basis. And then it needs to be submitted. So you have your quarterly updates, you have your end of period statement, and then you have a final declaration. So you need to note that the annual reporting is not disappearing, it's not going away, it's just sitting on top of all of this. Now, let's quickly look at who is actually affected and why timing matters. So, MTD applies based on what we call the qualifying income. And it's important to be precise here. So, we're talking about gross income before expenses. And this is for sole traders and for UK or overseas property landlords. So, one thing to be very clear is employment income, dividends, and savings interest do not count towards this threshold. So they do not count towards the qualifying income. From April 2026, if someone's, okay, I'll move to the next slide first of all. From April 2026, if your qualifying income exceeds 50,000, then you are required to comply with Making Tax Digital for income tax. And then from April 2027, that threshold drops to 30,000. Now, this is why timing really matters, because most firms already have this income data, even individuals as well. We already have this income data because this was based on tax return, which has already been set as at 31st of January. So there's no reason to wait. There's no reason to wait before you start getting ready for MTD if you already have all that you need in place. So the clients who will be required to comply by April 2026 are already identifiable as at today. And so the preparation needs to start happening or should have started happening. In terms of the deadlines for reporting, I mean the quarterly reports. So from April 6th, 2026, for the period of April 6th, 2026 to the period of 5th July, 2026, that update or that quarterly update will be due by the 7th of August, 2026. Then the second quarterly period, which will be from 6th July 2026 to 5th October 2026, would need to be due by 7th November 2026. And this pattern will just continue quarterly throughout the tax year. Now, what part of MTD tends to be really underestimated by firms and businesses? The part I would say that gets underestimated the most is the discipline that MTD requires. So not just the submission itself, because people focus on the technical question, which is, oh, can we file a quarterly update? And the answer is usually yes, we will be able to file. But then the harder question I think people are avoiding is, do we have clean digital records? Are we reconciling on a monthly basis? Do we have the defined responsibilities within our firm of who manages this data and when? Or are we relying on a traditional year-end cleanup culture, which will no longer work under MTD? And most firms and clients have not really confronted this yet. So now we'll move on to the next slide, which is the strain of late preparation. Because everything compounds when your preparation starts late, you're setting up your software. At the same time, you're also trying to manage existing compliance deadlines. At the same time, you're trying to clean up data, all of this under pressure. Then your staff are working during peak filing periods. And then you're still dealing with clients who have not even fully been prepared for this change. So obviously, they push back harder a bit because they're not fully prepared. What you get is what I like to call an operational fatigue. And you see, once a team hits that point of operational fatigue, then error rates go up. The team morale begins to drop. Then the quality of work would definitely suffer. And when we talk about early preparation, it doesn't really mean doing much more work. It just means distributing the work that would eventually be done, but distributing it sensibly rather than absorbing it all at once. So we'll go to the slide, which is the pre-2026 essentials, like the pre-2026 priorities, what genuinely needs to be done before April 2026. I've tried to keep it simple and make it 5 things that need to be in place before April 2026. And none of them should be rushed in the real sense. The first one is your client segmentation. You just need an accurate picture of who is affected as a client, as a firm. Basically, and this will be based on qualifying income, so not guesswork. the segmentation work should already be on the way because we have this information handy, as I said, because we all should have reported our 24-25 tax return as at 31st January. And that's what the qualifying income is based on. Now, the second thing is digital record keeping. You need to ensure that digital record keeping is genuinely embedded in your entire process. So it's not a migration that's half done, that's done half. It's not a spreadsheet that you would say we would upload it once a month or would tidy it. It's obviously not a box of receipts. It's proper, consistent digital capturing of income and expenses. The third one is monthly reconciliation. This needs to become a very standard process. So not something you do when there's time, but it has to be something that is on a defined cycle. And then that brings us to the fourth one, which is a defined quarterly workflow. Especially as firms, you need to clearly define who does what, when do we do this, how do we do this, what does the review process look like, what are the internal deadlines we have to maintain as a firm that would now meet the HMRC deadline or will make HMRC deadline comfortable for us to work with. And then the last one, the fifth one, is a client communication plan. I'm very big on communication. Clients need to understand what exactly is changing, what exactly is expected of them. And the earlier those conversations start happening, then the less resistance you face. Because you'll be surprised how much misconception is out there when it comes to MTD for income tax. So for example, I've gotten a few misconceptions. One is people would say, is it really a compliance issue? Is it an operational issue? Or is it a mix of it? And I like to say it is both. While the compliance issue is the visible tip, there's an operational change. And I personally feel that that operational change is even far bigger. Because the compliance question is simple. Can you submit quarterly updates to HMRC? Yes. But that operational question is the big part for me, which is, do you have the systems? Do you have the client relationship? Do you and your team have the habits to actually support this quarterly reporting as a normal part of how you now work? Another big misconception I hear is, but our clients already use bookkeeping software, so we're sorted. There's no problem. But the thing is, having a software is consistently using it correctly and using it in a way that supports quarterly reporting. They are totally different things. Now, let's look at the real cost of waiting versus the cost of early adoption. Now, the cost of late preparation is not just a financial cost. It is the operational fatigue I spoke about earlier on. So practically speaking now, I'll give you a practical example. You're onboarding clients at scale in 2026, April 2026, when every other firm as well is doing the same thing. You're correcting errors across multiple quarters at once. Your staff are being stretched. Then the clients as well are feeling rushed through the whole process. And what you just end up with dissatisfied clients. Then you end up with a team that's in a reactive mood. And when your team is in a reactive mood, I tell you for a fact, there's the tendency to make more mistakes. But you see, with early adoption, that's where the real value comes in. Because there's a change in how you're handling workloads. There's a change in client conversations. There's an even workload distribution, and that makes it manageable when spread across the year rather than when it's absorbed in a rush. And as this changes, you realize as a firm owner that the nature of client conversations you're having would also change. And this now positions us as accountants as a trusted business partner, because we're now able to move from just compliance to the advisory bits. And then, because we're reviewing this data on a quarterly basis with our clients, we start having a different kind of conversation. about their businesses, about the trajectory. We're now able to offer more tax planning, explain to our clients what their tax liability would look like in real time. And that is advisory work. And that is where firms would differentiate themselves come April 2026. Because clients who have gone through this early adoption process will have a healthy relationship with their accountants, and things will feel different, and it would be more useful. And you see, that real benefit there is something I feel is hard to quantify, but is really real. So I'll leave you with the thoughts on the last slide, which is, the question is not whether you can file quarterly. The critical question is, have we diligently refined our systems and our records and our habits to ensure quarterly reporting feels like a seamless, normal part of our operations? Thank you very much.
Amy, thank you very much for that. That was incredibly powerful and important. And I think what I took the most from that is it's less about the filing, it's more about readiness, having the correct foundations in place. A reminder to everybody who's watching, there is a 30-day free trial of Nomi available. I'll email it to you. You can download it from the website right now, have full access to the full suite for the next 30 days so you can practice and potentially be ready in time. What we can also do now is I can hand over to my colleague Rahul. Rahul is a customer success manager within Nomi. If you've worked with us before or had a demo, you've probably seen him, and he can actually give us a quick overview of what an MTD submission looks like, how easy it is to use, and give us some real experience. Rahul, can you hear me?
Yeah, Rob, I can hear you.
Okay, let me pass over to you now, and let's show everybody how good Nomi can be.
Sure. So I will just share my screen. Is it visible?
It's just loaded now. Great, we can all see that now, Rahul.
Okay. So I'll give you a quick walkover how we can do it in Nomi. So the very first step is that we have to come on the settings screen. So whenever, like, this is for the accountants and the bookkeepers. So in their login, they'll have to click on settings. And the next step is to click on MTD for income tax settings. So under advisor info, you will find this option. And once you click on this, then it will take you to the screen where you have to click on read token. And then you have to click on write token. So as you click on read token, it will take you to the HMRC website where you will have to log in and provide the access to the software to interact on your behalf. So once you do this, the tokens will be generated for the read token. The same process you will have to follow for the write token, and then it will again take you to the screen. You will have to log in, and then it will redirect you back on the screen, and you have to click on save. Once this process is completed, the next step is that you have to move into the client record. So here you have to click on the client list, and then you will have to find the name of that particular client. So you can just enter the name, and after that, you can click on the name of that client. For business users, it's quite easy. They will definitely get this screen by default. So that you'll find. And then what you have to do, you have the options here, the MTD for income tax in the top right corner, and we have provided the option on the left hand side. So as you will click on MTD for income tax, it will take you to this screen and you will find the details of the business. So for accountants and bookkeepers, they will see the screen, and for the business owners, they will land on a screen where they have to then set up the MTD using their own credentials. So they can log in into the HMRC website and follow the same process and raise the read tokens and write tokens. So that's what they have to do. Now, once you are on the screen, you have done the setup process, then you will find the details of the business and the UK property. If you are a landlord, then you will find those details. And on this screen, you will have to set up the quarter. So you will have to then click on view details. And on this screen here, you will have to select the quarter type, whether calendar or the standard one. So standard one will start from 6th of April and then it will continue for like 3 months, and the calendar one will start from 1st of April. So that you will have to set. If you do not set this, then by default the standard one will be selected. Now, after setting up all these details, like the business name, business ID, type, accounting type, all these details will be fetched from HMRC. After this, we have the quarter obligations. So in quarter obligations, you'll be able to see all the quarters. So a start date and an end date and the due date. So as Evie said that there is a due date of 7th of August because the period is ending on 5th of July. So it is 1 month and 7 days. And on the screen, you'll see all the quarters. And then you have to add the income and expenses. So you just need to click on add. And on the screen, you'll be able to click on the new and then input all the information. So your business details will be there. But apart from that, allowable business expenses, whatever the expenses are, the turnover you can enter. You can update the turnover on the screen. Then it will show you the calculation under taxable profits. You can also use the capital allowances. If there are any CIS deductions, you can do that as well. So that's all in place. And after this, like once you populate all the information of income and expenses, then you are ready to file for that quarter. So here you have to then click on submit, and that quarter will be submitted. The same is with the UK property. So if you are a landlord and you want to file the quarterly submissions, you will have to follow the same process. And view cumulative summary. So you have the option to view the cumulative summary. So cumulative summary is nothing but once you submit the second quarter, it will include all the information of the first quarter. So this will happen with the third quarter as well. It will include the details of the first 2 quarters, and the final quarter will include the details of the rest of the 3 quarters. So you have to follow the same process and make the submissions. Whenever you make a submission, you can always go into the history, and from there you can track what all submissions you have done for the self-employment, income, and the UK property. And you also have a tax summary. So tax summary will also let you know that when did you make the submission, what's the liability amount, all that it will show on this screen. And after that, we have the final declaration. So this is quite important. So once you have made the submissions for all the quarters, here you will find the final summary. This is the same 31st January deadline, as we all are aware. So we can view it here. It will show all the information under the final declaration, and we can go through it in detail. And after that, this we have to file. So that is, the deadline is 31st of January. So we have to be ready before that. And then we just need to click on submit and make the final declaration. So it's very easy. You have to just make the correct setup. You generate the tokens, and then all the details will be fetched directly from HMRC in the case of businesses, or the UK property for the landlords, and you can make quarterly submissions from Nomi. So Rob, that's it. It's a quick overview how it can be managed within Nomi, and it's very straightforward.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I really love the simplicity of Nomi. I love how it brings everything together in one single place. A reminder, if you do download the free trial and you want to have a demo one-on-one with Rahul, and that's if you're an accountant, a landlord, or a sole trader, you don't need to be an accountant to use Nomi. You can do that. So download the trial, book a session, and we can do it there. We've just got another poll that I'm just going to launch now that's going to give us an understanding. And this is going to be, what do you see as the biggest challenge with making tax digital? So I've just launched that there. And if anybody can take a couple of seconds to just click what the options are: maintaining quarterly submission accuracy, client data quality and consistency, choosing the right integration, choosing the right software, like using on me, or timeliness and capacity management. If we can have a quick look at that, I'll share the results, and then we'll move on to a really important part of the session, which is going to be the Q&A. So just give everyone a minute there. And I think we have quite an obvious winner there, that client data and consistency tends to be what everybody on the call sees as being the biggest challenge. Now, if we move on to Q&A, I'll bring Ivy back on and Rahul, and we can talk in detail. If you have any questions, now is the time. If you just post them on the Q&A session, I'll run through them with everybody. I mean, Ivy, my question would be, first of all, if I can just ask you, from your perspective, for the next 30 days, what should firms prioritize doing? What's the most important thing to do right now? Avi, you there? Can you hear me at all? Okay, I think Avi's just sent me a message to say that she's not going to be able to amend the Q&A. Rahul, if you can stay with me. What do you think the biggest priority for accounting firms should be over the next 30 days?
I think everybody should be registering the clients for the self-assessment for the income tax. That is the most important, as and what we've covered, like we have to be proactive. So this 1 month preparation is very important, because from 1st of April, we'll be rolling out the MTD. So we have to be ready with everything.
Yeah, another question that's just popped up is, when you fill out the MTD page, does it automatically pull through to the self-assessment or end of year statement as it'll be now?
Yeah, it will do that as well.
Yeah, so that's great. So it'll automatically update within Nomi, so you can manage that. I currently use Nomi purely for the end of year submissions and have a different software for my bookkeeping. Can I input the quarterly figures onto Nomi MTD? So do you need to be a Nomi bookkeeping customer in order to use Nomi MTD? Rahul, that one's for you.
Yeah, so this is the requirement from HMRC that digital record keeping is important. So if you are using the bookkeeping, then the figures will be directly fetched from the bookkeeping into the quarterly MTD returns. So yeah, that is important. You should manage that. But as of now, you also have the option to do it by yourself. You can do it manually as well.
Yeah,
But
and my position on that would be, why don't you try Nomi bookkeeping as well? I can set you up in a free trial and give you a couple of tokens, credits to play with, so you can use a couple of clients. So why don't you try it? Let me try and find another question there. Bear with me. Keep the questions coming. I can only see a couple more that we haven't done. If you're using a different software to do the bookkeeping, can you upload the data? I think we've covered that you can. I want to refer my network for a free trial demo. How do I do this? It doesn't say the name there, but get in touch with me. I can help you with that. I've downloaded, it's been really useful. I think that is all the questions. I think we've been through everything now. So unless anything comes through in the next few seconds, then I think we'll wrap up. So thank you everybody who's joined today. I think it's been a really useful session to see the impact of MTD, how it's important to align yourself with the right software, prepare early, download the Nomi free trial, and then manage your clients, educate your clients, and try and make it operationally as smooth as possible going forward. We're also going to include in the email we send out to you our downloadable 30-day Making Tax Digital Action Plan. So we'll send you that, the free trial. You'll also have my contact details as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to me to discuss a free trial, understand our pricing, they have a network that they want to refer, please reach out to me. I'll more than happily have that conversation with you. Amy did just message me. She had to drop off for a major emergency. So there's no issue with that at all. Rahul, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everybody who's joined us in the webinar, and we'll let you all go now. Okay, take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.